back to Mini-Modelog and I look at the Spike 2019 Almanac. Now you're probably going to turn around and say, well, why is it taking you so long, Joe? This has been out for God knows how long. I had a real problem getting this. Now when it first came out, the store that I was buying stuff from couldn't get it. Element Games ran out. Then you couldn't order it on the Games Workshop site, and then we had lockdown. So it's been a bit of a pain to get hold of. But once Games Workshop was doing orders again, I noticed this was up for print to order. So I thought, well, I'll order it and probably get an email saying not available. And I will then continue buying Spike magazines. But it came, which I was really pleased about. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the immediate differences between that. And then we're going to take a look at inside this and show you what you get extra in here. So immediate differences, the obvious one, hardback, not hardback. The other on straight away, 4 teams, 1 team covered. And then price, £30, £10. Going off of just those 3 alone, if you're prepared to wait, this seems the better buy because it covers 4 teams rather than 1. You get everything that's in the Spike magazines and a little bit more, which we'll go into when we take a look inside. So it's a bit of a chicken and egg one. Are you prepared to wait or do you want things immediately? That's kind of what it comes down to. Personally, I held off on 2 Spike magazines to get this and then kind of regretted it and then didn't regret it because I managed to get hold of it. But one thing I would say is order this straight away when it comes out in 2020. There will be one in 2020. We've had one in 2019. It might be that we won't get one until 2021, but let's take a look inside and see what you get extra. Right, let's take a look inside here. So obviously I've done the comparisons of price. I've done the comparisons of what you get in each one. My knee-jerk reaction is to go for this one. If you're prepared to wait, I think this is the way to go personally. But if you were only getting 1 team, this would be the way to go. That's my thoughts on which one to get. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a look inside these. We've obviously done Spike magazines before. Do go check them out. I'll pop a link up in the corner for the last one we did. But we'll take a look inside here and what different nice things you get as extras. Obviously, one of the first things you get is a marker point with the nice sash, which is really nice, which you don't get in any of those. So obviously, there's more pages. Clocking in at roughly almost 200 pages, this book, 177 pages. The first thing I notice is, even in the front, you get larger versions of some of the artwork. So that's one of the star players from the Undead team. And then at the back, I don't know who picked it, but I really like that as well, the Wood Elf. It's a nice, larger representation. And I quite like how it's in red and how it's all scuffed. It's like a big blood splodge mark. I really quite like that. I think it looks really cool. So that's front and back inside covers. Obviously, you've got the back cover with some blurb, and then you've got the front cover with the 4 teams represented. Obviously, I'm not going to go through the Spike magazines. If you want to see some of the Spike magazines, do check out my other videos. But the first thing you get is a bit of a forward from Bob and Jim, just saying welcome to the 2019 Spike magazine. You then get another forward, this is welcome back readers from Lord Borak, and that's typically in Lord Borak's vernacular and all that kind of thing, which I really quite like. So that's one thing you get. You get, you know, an introduction to this supplement effectively, which is quite nice. Then you get into the first Spike magazine. Now, rather than just going straight with the first page of the Spike magazine, they give you a little intro, what the Spike magazine's about, bit of background behind who was writing in it and stuff like that, what's in it. So you can find out, if you wanted to, you know, find out what's in it, you could just read this and then skip to the page you wanted. Also, it gives you the front cover picture, which was on the original Spike, which I quite like. Because obviously, you still want maybe the artwork. So you get that for each Spike magazine. And it just goes from one to the other. So obviously the first one being the Undead, skip forward and you go into the next one. It's the same format for each one. However, at the back of the Spike magazine, so obviously let's take the Undead one, so we're using that as the example. You get to the end, which is obviously the end is the comic by Pete Nifton. Again, awesome stuff. You then get into 2 extra pages, which you get with each team, which is basically the information about the pictures that were available. Now, if you couldn't get hold of the pictures for whatever reason, so say for example you couldn't get hold of an Undead pitch or any of the other pictures anymore, but you wanted the rules for those pictures because you had a generic pitch and you wanted to try out the rules, that's what they've done. They've added those rules that are on the back of any of the pictures, and then they've also added special ball rules, which are really cool, which I think some of these came up in some of the Warhammer articles in the White Dwarf magazine. So they've added in both those for every single team. So if, like me, you only got a small selection of the pitches, but you have a generic pitch, you could then maybe use the rules, obviously with an agreement with your opponent, and also the multiple ball rules. So I thought that was a really nice touch to add into Spike magazine. So it feels like you are getting a little bit more. However, is this a bit of a cash-in from Games Workshop? Well, if you've not got this information, it kind of is, but at the same time, do you need it? Because part of those rules is whether your opponent agrees. So you could argue, well, I don't really need it. It's not going to come up if I only play in tournaments. But I think having it is quite nice. So that's basically the main differences. Obviously, the amount that's in it, the fact that you get these rules, and the forward at the beginning. And then at the end, you get a bit of a model show as well, which I quite like. Because you obviously get a full list of star players once you get past the Lizard Men book. So it's all the star players that are in this book in a full list, which is quite a nice way to see it rather than having to hunt through each Spike magazine. And all the way through is some slightly new artwork as well. But then you get into new season colours where they've basically put in what is in the front covers of the actual Spike magazine. So the actual models themselves, and you get decent sized versions of all the models. And you also get images of the star players that they've brought out since, and also the cheerleaders. So I really like this. And of course, at the very back, the frequently asked questions. Now, this document's obviously available for free on the Games Workshop website, but it is quite nice to have it in a book format, have it there. You're not having to then hunt on a website for it or print it out and have a loose printout that you could lose. So that's quite nice as well. The only thing I'm not happy with in this is all the pages are printed in a very much a gloss way. And I don't know if this is an oversight by Games Workshop. Now obviously the back cover is not gloss. So this page is not gloss, but the inside page should be. You could argue that's a slight printing oversight by Games Workshop, but considering you pay 30 quid for it, it's the information that is what matters. I think this is a great book. I think if you're prepared to wait, I think the Spike magazines are the way to go. However, if you're only buying one team, the Spike magazines are better than the Almanac. But if you're buying all the teams, buy the Almanac. That's my piece of advice. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. If you like this one, hit the like button. And hit that notification bell to let you know when I'm next posting. Don't forget to comment, and I'll see you next time.